Herzlich willkommen. Wir fangen an mit ein bisschen einer kleinen Verspätung, aber wir haben ja noch einen schönen Abend. Macht es euch bequem für den ersten Teil des Abends. Wir haben ja schon einen Workshop hinter uns zum Thema des Natya-Yoga. Heute Nachmittag haben wir eine sehr schöne Einführung zu diesem tiefen Yoga von Pater Saju bekommen. Und der Ablauf für den heutigen Abend ist geplant, dass wir einen Future Talk, das war sozusagen schon mal das allererste, was wir geplant haben, machen zum Thema des Natya-Yoga. Als zweites kommt dann eine Performance von Saju mit seiner Gruppe. Sie sind ja gerade auf Europatournee und Gott sei Dank noch den letzten Tag hier in München, werden sie dann morgen wieder zurück nach Indien fliegen. Also werden wir eine Performance von Saju mit seiner Ensemble sehen und dann noch eine Aufführung von der Revati-Akademie für indischen Tanz. Also wir haben sozusagen heute ein sehr schönes, volles Programm und im Anschluss gibt es auch noch ein kleines Tanzfest, um sozusagen nicht nur zuzuhören bzw. zuzuschauen, sondern gleichzeitig auch noch den Raumanzug, den wir hier bewohnen, auch gleichzeitig zu bewegen. Ja, herzlich willkommen. Ich habe mit Saju vereinbart, dass ich ein bisschen in Deutsch sprechen darf, weil wir die Intro heute Nachmittag zum Natya-Yoga schon in Englisch gemacht haben und wir auch schon seit längerem ein Gespräch führen. Deswegen weiß er, was ich sagen werde. Und außerdem spricht er mittlerweile auch ein bisschen Deutsch und hat angefangen, Deutsch zu lernen. Genau. Und ja, ich freue mich zunächst mal ganz sehr, Saju, dass du da bist und uns beehrst mit dem Natya-Yoga und auch mit einer Performance. Wie gesagt, wir haben ja heute Nachmittag schon einen Workshop gehabt, wo wir speziell zu Shiva Nataraja, der uns jetzt hier im Rücken ist, da tiefer eingestiegen sind in die Symbolik. Jeglicher Körperteil hat eine bestimmte Symbolik. Und Shiva Nataraja ist ja, wie soll man sagen, eigentlich die höchste Gottheit, je nachdem natürlich, welche hinduistische Perspektive man einnimmt, aber der Ishvara, der höchste Gott, Shiva, in seiner Form als der tanzende Shiva, Shiva Nataraja. Und wir haben es heute schon im Laufe des Nachmittags ein bisschen gesagt, wir haben hier eine sehr spannende Kombination. Wir haben hier einen ethnischen Inder und gleichzeitig einen Christen, einen Pater sogar, einen Jesuiten, einen Theologen, der zum Thema des indischen Tanzes auch promoviert hat, also sich damit beschäftigt hat, aber gleichzeitig religiös ein Pater, ein Priester, ein Christ ist. Und während ich eigentlich der ethnische Europäer bin, und mich zwar nur ungern als Neo-Hinduist bezeichne, aber Aurobindos Yoga, der für mich die zentrale geistige Dimension darstellt, wird oftmals in den Bereich des Neo-Hinduismus eingeordnet. Also mit anderen Worten führt hier auch ein Gespräch zwischen Christentum und Hinduismus und das immer wieder auch in vertauschten Rollen. Und das finde ich eigentlich einen sehr spannenden Zugang, weil der Tanz vielleicht sogar diese Brücke für den interkulturellen und interreligiösen Dialog sein kann. Und wir hatten uns heute Morgen schon mal ein bisschen, für diejenigen, die sich auch intensiver mit indischer Spiritualität beschäftigen, die zentrale Institution oder das zentrale Verständnis des Göttlichen im Christentum ist ja in der Trinität, in dieser Trinität von Vater, Sohn und Heiliger Geist. Das ist einer der Kernpunkte der christlichen Philosophie und Religionsphilosophie. Und in gewisser Hinsicht gibt es da eine Spiegelung oder eine Parallelität zum indischen Verständnis, wer mit den Begriffen was anfangen kann, von dem Purushottama, der in der Bhagavad Gita zur Sprache kommt, vor allem als Krishna. Der Avatara, die Inkarnation, die sozusagen welthaft in der Welt in Erscheinung tritt. In der evolutionären Folge der Avatare im Hinduismus ist es sozusagen von dem Fischmenschen, der sich in gewisser Hinsicht bis zu Krishna, Buddha und dann letztlich Kalki-Avatar, der letzte Avatar, der erwartet wird. Und das ist sozusagen die Dimension des Sohnes, wenn wir in der Trinität in diesem Bild bleiben. Und der Heilige Geist ist ja in gewisser Hinsicht die eigentliche Wirklichkeit in der christlichen Theologie, die dem Ansatz des Brahman, die eigentliche Wirklichkeit entspricht. Und im Gegensatz zum Bharatnatyam, diesem sehr kodifizierten Tanz, der eine lange Tradition hat und wo Saju ein Meister des Bharatnatyam ist, wollten wir heute den Fokus und haben den schon auf den Natya-Yoga gelegt. Saju hat es nochmal schön in seinem Beitrag ausdifferenziert, dass sozusagen Natya nur ein Aspekt ist, dass es Nitya gibt und diesen Gesamtzusammenhang, vielleicht kommen wir da auch nochmal drauf zu sprechen, aber Natya eigentlich, der sozusagen alles umfasst, wenn man so will, der Tanz und Yoga, Einung. Yoga, Einung. Ich sage das deswegen, weil im Westen haben wir oftmals das Yoga-Verständnis nur der Asana, des Hatha-Yoga, der Körperpraktiken. Aber Yoga direkt übersetzt heißt Einung, Anjochung. Und Einung womit? Mit dem Göttlichen. Mit dem Göttlichen. Und das heißt natürlich, ein Verständnis davon zu haben, was das Göttliche ist, zu dem man sich hinwendet, zu dem man betet. Oder Tanz nicht nur Performance wird und Ausdruck, sondern tatsächlich authentisches Gebet zum Göttlichen. Und der Christ betet dann in dieser Trinität in gewisser Hinsicht zum Vater oder zum Sohn, zu Christus. Der Hinduist dann eben beispielsweise zu Shiva Nataraja oder zu Krishna, der ja auch den Rasa Lila, den Tanz der Freude und der Ekstase tanzt. Also der Tanz vielleicht als interkulturelles und interreligiöses Verbindungsstück einerseits und auf der anderen Seite eben das Verständnis einer Yoga-Praxis, die weitaus nur über die Asanas und sozusagen hier die Prakriti, die hier sitzt. Es gibt auch noch ein Purusha, es gibt die geistige Dimension. Und dieses Zusammenspiel von Geist und Materie, Geist und Körper, das ist genau eigentlich der Tanz. Der Tanz von Purusha und Prakriti, von Shiva Shakti, von Brahman Maya, wenn man mal in diesen Polaritäten bleibt. Ja, das vielleicht schon mal vorausgeschickt, dass es sozusagen nicht darum geht, diese uralte Form, natürlich äußerst komplex, wo man viele Jahre, Jahrzehnte praktizieren muss, um die Mudras, die wir heute ein bisschen geübt haben, tatsächlich richtig zu machen, um die Sprache, die Tanzsprache des Bharatnatyam sprechen zu können. Die Buchstaben, die sich zu Worten bilden, die Worte, die dann Sätze werden und wo dann Geschichten erzählt werden können, sondern wo der Fokus heute drauf liegen soll, auf dem Natya Lila, auf dem Spiel, auf dem Spielerischen. Und ich wollte auf den letzten Future Talk auch ein bisschen eingehen, den wir vor einem Monat hatten zum Thema der holistischen Körperpsychotherapie, wo wir schon das Thema des Spiels, des Tanzspiels uns betrachtet haben und wo wir auf den Theologen Hugo Rahner intensiver eingegangen sind. Jetzt die Frage, wem sagt Hugo Rahner was? Wer hat schon mal was von Hugo Rahner gehört? Ja, also gerade dann, weil wir sozusagen auch wirklich diese geistig-spirituelle Dimension im Tanz, sowohl im hinduistischen als auch im christlichen, uns erschließen wollen, spielt Hugo Rahner meines Erachtens da eine sehr zentrale Rolle. Das ist übrigens, bevor ich weiterklicke, eine Veranstaltung von 2016, wo Saju damals zum großen Frieden kam. Es gibt auch ein Video dazu, aber das wollte ich nur mal als Hintergrund sagen. Und kurz zum letzten Future Talk noch darauf eingehen, weil wir ja eine Kontinuität haben. Wir sind zwar jetzt hier im in der neuen bzw. in der Roten Fabrik, aber die Future Talk-Reihe findet ja eigentlich im Lachtach-Ling statt. Und einer der großen Themen, die wir da seit über 10 Jahren immer behandeln, neben dem Thema der Autopoiesis, die natürlich auch wiederum viel mit dem Tanz zu tun hat, war immer einer der Schwerpunktthemen der Tanz. Und zwar der tanzende Mensch. Das ist eine Folie, die ich für den letzten Future Talk zum Thema der holistischen Körperpsychotherapie erarbeitet habe, weil da eigentlich einer der Kernpunkte der westlichen Tanzphilosophie und der westlichen Spieltheologie beschrieben ist. Ich möchte es jetzt nicht im Detail irgendwie vorlesen, aber die wichtigsten Referenzpunkte dafür sind einerseits Johann Huizinga mit seinem Buch Homo Ludens, die kulturellen Grundlagen und der Ursprung der Kultur im Spiel. Also Huizinga hat sozusagen eine Spieltheorie, eine Ludologie entwickelt. Und diesen Ansatz hat dann der besagte Hugo Rahner, der Bruder von Karl Rahner, ein ganz bedeutender Theologe des 20. Jahrhunderts, auf das Thema theologische Dimension des Spiels fokussiert. Es ist meines Erachtens nach deswegen sehr wichtig, weil er, Hugo Rahner, dort in dem Werk Der spielende Mensch eine Eschatologie entwickelt. Eine Eschatologie, das ist sozusagen Teil der christlichen Philosophie, und zwar Eschaton heißt sozusagen der Endzustand. Und eine Eschatologie ist innerhalb der Theologie die Vorstellung, was am Ende der Zeiten passieren wird. Der paradiesische Zustand. Dieser paradiesische Zustand, der auch am Anfang war, das ist ja Teil der christlichen Lehre, auch der christlichen Philosophie, am Anfang der paradiesische Zustand, das Alpha und das Omega, der wiederum die Wiederherstellung, im Griechischen Apokatastase, die Wiederherstellung während der Zeiten sozusagen. Und Hugo Rahner entwickelt dort eine Theologie des Tanzes von diesem eschatologischen Endzustand. Und im 4. Kapitel seines Werks, Der spielende Mensch, ist überschrieben mit das himmlische Tanzspiel. Das himmlische Tanzspiel. Und ich glaube, dass das sozusagen eigentlich ein sehr wichtiger Impuls auch für die christliche Theologie ist, eine Vorstellung davon zu bekommen, wie denn dieser Omega-Punkt, dieser eschatologische Zustand aussehen könnte. Weil je mehr wir uns mit dem Göttlichen tatsächlich verbinden, mit dem Ursprung, aber auch gleichzeitig mit dem Omega-Punkt, desto mehr muss ja auch diese Qualität des Ursprungs und des Endpunkts, wie es auch Théâtre Jardin beschrieben hat, wahrnehmbar sein. Und ich kenne keinen anderen Theologen, der diesen eschatologischen Endpunkt so schön beschrieben hat als himmlisches Tanzspiel. Schon mit Nietzsche ist klar, dass sozusagen Tanz nicht nur der bewegte Körper ist, sondern als Metapher, der Tanz der Sterne. Wir hatten es heute wunderbar in deiner Beschreibung der Symbolik des Shiva Natraja, der Sterne, der Tanz der Sterne, der Moleküle. Also die Tanzmetapher ist sozusagen eine der Kernmetaphern für das höhere Leben. Auch bei Nietzsche, wenn man überlegt, sich im Zarathustra, erstmal ist der Mensch der Kamelmensch von den 3 Verwandlungen des Geistes, der die Lasten trägt, der Kamelmensch, der dann sich weiterentwickelt zum Löwenmensch, der gegen den Drachen der alten Werte kämpft, um letztlich, und das ist auch Nietzsches Bild des Übermenschen, zum spielenden Kind zu werden. Das spielende Kind, Balarat im Sanskrit, ist das spielende Kind, das sozusagen sich mit dieser eschatologischen Dimension, die für uns noch in einer Zukunft liegt, aber in einer direkten Resonanz liegt. In der christlichen Theologie wird man von einer präsentischen Eschatologie sprechen. Das heißt, die Eschatologie ist nicht nur irgendwann in der Zukunft im Hinblick auf dieses Jahr 2022 innerhalb der Raumzeit, sondern es gibt raumzeitfreie Dimensionen. Das integrale Bewusstsein ist das zeitfreie Bewusstsein, das mit dem Ursprung verbunden ist. Sagt zum Beispiel Jean Gebser, der Ursprung, auch wieder der paradiesische, aber auch der Endpunkt, der Omega-Punkt, von dem Théâtre de Chardin in seiner Theologie spricht. Also damit in eine direkte Resonanz zu kommen, ist der Sinn des Natya-Yoga. Nicht so sehr nur die Performance, die Ästhetik der Bewegungen, die Genauigkeit der Ausführung, sondern diese Dimension des Yoga. Darüber haben wir sowohl heute gesprochen, als auch einiges von dir erfahren, aber ich wollte es nochmal, um den Rahmen aufzuziehen. Bevor wir dann in das Gespräch eintauchen, wollte ich zumindest nochmal kurz auf den Natya-Yoga eingehen im Kontext der hinduistischen Tradition. Wenn man so will, haben wir hier unten sozusagen die traditionellen Yogas. Der Natya-Yoga basiert eigentlich auf dem Yoga der Gita, der Bhagavad Gita. Und der Yoga der Bhagavad Gita hat die drei Aspekte des Jnana-Yoga, des Yoga des Wissens, des Karma-Yoga, der Yoga der Werke und des Bhakti-Yoga, der Yoga der Liebe und Hingabe. Sri Aurobindo, der für mich die geistige Instanz darstellt, hat dann noch einen vierten Aspekt dazu gebracht, den Yoga der Selbstvervollkommnung, der Yoga of Self-Perfection. Und das ist in gewisser Hinsicht immer die Grundlage, auch für den Natya-Yoga. Also dieses Zusammenspiel aus Erkennen, Wissen, aus Liebe und Hingabe, damit Gebet, aber auch Tat und Handlung. Und die Tat und Handlung innerhalb des Natya-Yoga ist dann die Tathandlung, wie es Fichte so schön sagt, die Tathandlung des Tanzes, des bewegten Leibes. Also mit anderen Worten, es ist gegründet in den traditionellen, ich will da gar nicht mal so darauf eingehen, wie das auch eine Verbindung zum Hinduismus und zum Buddhismus gibt, sondern es gibt eine Yoga-Evolution, die dann diese drei Yogas von Bhakti-Yoga, Karma-Yoga und Jnana-Yoga verbindet zum integralen Yoga, wobei ganz konkret im Kontext des Natya-Yoga der Tanz im Zentrum steht. Der Ishtadevata, das Bild des Göttlichen. Jeder macht sich ja ein anderes Bild vom Göttlichen. Der Ishtadevata im Kontext des Natya-Yoga ist natürlich vor allem Nataraja. Aber es kann, wie auch Saju sehr schön zeigt, auch Christus sein. Und es können durch die indische Tanzsprache auch Aspekte der Bibel zum Ausdruck gebracht werden. Man kann natürlich dort immer weiter sehr tief eintauchen und ich möchte nicht zu lange den Monolog am Anfang führen, aber das mal als einführende Worte, dass es sozusagen um diese Dimension des Yogischen geht. Und Yoga heißt Einung. Und Einung mit was? Das ist die Kernfrage. Wer ist der Ishtadevata jedes Einzelnen? Und das ist wiederum damit abhängig von welchem religiösen Hintergrund jemand kommt. Die Sufis haben wiederum ihren eigenen Allah, sozusagen, dem dieser Tanz dann gewidmet ist und auch eine sehr lebendige Tanztradition des Sema-Rituals. Und heute werden wir stärker in die indische Tradition eintauchen und ich will nur einen kurzen Ausblick noch geben. Nach dem Talk werden wir eine Performance von Pater Saju mit seinem Ensemble sehen. Gleichzeitig dann im Anschluss von der Revati-Akademie, die sich tatsächlich dem indischen Tanz und auch der Tanzkultur verschrieben hat. Und dann gibt es noch ein Tanzfest mit der Musik von Thomas Gebhardt, wobei die Performance von der Revati-Akademie auch mit der Musik von Arcana Obscura, also von Thomas Gebhardt, kommt. Das ist in gewisser Hinsicht der Ausblick für den heutigen Abend. Und nachdem ich diesen Einführungstalk vorhin in Englisch führen konnte, weiß ich, dass Saju schon weiß, was ich jetzt gesagt habe. Und wir praktisch jetzt nochmal ein bisschen in das Gespräch eintauchen. Und vielleicht, Saju, would you like to give us a short introduction to your way, how you came to dance, so a personal introduction, what brought you to dance, hat ein indisches Institut, ein Kulturinstitut, das in Verbindung mit der Universität in Kalkutta ist. Also es wird dort auch ausgebildet, eine Förderung der indischen Kultur, des Tanzes, der Musik und so weiter. Aber first of all, maybe for the audience, what brought you to become a dancer, especially being raised as a Indian Christian?
Vielen Dank, Andreas, for this introduction. Various topic in a holistic way. In a nutshell, you have touched upon so many Indian artistic, philosophical and religious topics. As you asked, I shall start in a very short way my journey into the world of Indian classical dance. I am born in Kerala, that is the extreme south of India, southwest, a small strip of land, Kerala. We call that land in touristic terms God's own country. So God has inherited that country. And this Kerala is one of the 10 most beautiful places tourists visit in the world. So I come from that country, and the country means that's a state in India. And our tradition, my Christian tradition, is going to be 2000 years in another 30 years. That means in AD 52, we believe, the disciple of Jesus, St. Thomas, came to Kerala and converted some of the families. We don't know whether it was whether Hindu family or a Buddhist family or Jewish family, we do not know. So that is my Christian tradition. So I carry a Christian tradition of nearly 2000 years. That is the oldest Christian tradition in India. And so therefore, I grew up in a multi-religious, in a way multicultural, multilingual as well situation. Multi-religious means we lived and we worked, we played together. We grew up till my 19 years old with Hindus, Christians, some Muslims, and I never knew about Buddhism till then because there were no Buddhists in our part of the world. Then the Hindu philosophy, Islamic, bit of Islamic approach, because in Asia, Islam, the first mosque, the oldest mosque is in Kerala. So we have, and also Jewish synagogue is in Kerala, the oldest one in India. So as you know, India is a cradle of many religions, as we saw, many religions born from India, Hinduism, and before that Buddhism and Jainism, then Sikhism. Now we have so many other religions like Baha'i or Islam. So I come with this, bag and baggages of religions around me and cultures and languages like Sanskrit and Malayalam and Hindi, Tamil, all that. And when I was a boy, in the school, in the churches, we were allowed to dance, to act, to do many of the cultural activities, artistic activities, and I was very much interested into dance. First, to see dance, classical dance. In Kerala we have two classical dance traditions called Kathakali with big mask and Mohiniyattam, which Revati, its school teaches also Mohiniyattam. from Kerala with the manly and the female. So both. Now there is no such division, everybody learns. So when I saw that dance, especially the Kathakali, from my school, my friends, Hindus, I used to sit and watch. And being from a very traditional family, we were allowed to see, but we were not allowed to practice. We were not allowed to learn. Later, I am from a family of 12 children. My brothers and sisters, then they used to dance at home, and there's so many martial art. In Kerala, we have a famous martial art called Kalaripayat. So some of them used to do Kalaripayat. Then one of my brothers through Kalaripayat yoga. So it was a kind of mixture of art, martial art, dance, yoga. My sisters used to dance. So I came up. And my grandfather, more than my own father, was open to all these. Then when we used to practice, they were not objecting to. And I used to learn a little bit from my sisters and friends. Then after 19, I decided to go to Calcutta. That is from south to northeast. Calcutta is one of the biggest cities in India with 14 million people. So I live in the city of Calcutta and around in a village for now last 36 years, where I am developing a center for Kunst, Kultur, spirituality to the social projects. From there we have come. Now this background took me to Calcutta. Then we have 3 years only spiritual training. We don't do anything. We don't learn apart from the seminary learning. After that, one of my Jesuit fathers asked me, you seem to be liking dance. Do you like to learn dance? I said, of course I like to learn dance. Then he took me to a guru who was Indian classical dancer with another style which we are not doing now, Kuchipudi, and he was a Catholic. Very rarely that you could get a Christian or Catholic to a professional level, and he was a professor in the university. So he took me there. From there, I began my serious learning dance. And what struck me, he used to explain, he was very well versed in Hinduism, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavata Puranam, all these things, and also Christianity, Bible. So he would give me a little bit of inter-religious, inter-cultural, and he was Anglo-Burmese, from a Burmese royal family, and with a Monroe family from British, so that kind of, he was also very, multicultural person and very well learned. So I went to him and said, he was very happy, and he taught me this, Kuchipudi, and not that he taught me too much of the technicalities, but he gave me the philosophical, the religious part of this, dance. And something that struck me was that he always used to say, this God Nataraja is dancing in your heart. So he taught me one item. He says, Na Hridaya Piti Paik Natyamade Deva Naga Bhushana Deva Nanenu Kovaya. Means, O God, who dances in the heart of every human being, you are that beautiful dancer who dances in the high pedestal, the lotus pedestal of my heart. You are such a wonderful dancer, and the serpents crawl, dance with you. And you have the moon, the stars, the Ganges flowing from you, and so many other elements protect me. So then, he didn't teach me a Christian prayer first. He didn't teach me the Our Father or Holy Pio, anything. Then I learned it and danced many times. Then he said, the God who is dancing in you, the image is different maybe. But you decide, is it the Christ, the risen Christ who is dancing in your heart? I said, yes. When I start dancing, I may be doing this gesture, this gesture and all this, but the inner being, the inner soul, the spirit that was dancing in me was that what I received from my birth, my childhood. Then he explained how Christ becomes the dancer in his resurrection, dancing in every element as the universal dancer of love, joy and everything. So this is where then I set my path that I want to learn dance, theatre, music, to this. And side by side, yoga was part of dance. Without yoga, you cannot have a steady, controlled mind for Indian classical dance. It's very important. So that's how then I went into the university. I took a diploma for 2 years, then I took a master's for 2.5 years, then I did a PhD, a doctorate in the philosophy and religion of this particular God and the dance, everything. Then dance became my breath. So nearly 35 to 40 years I'm dancing. And I do all the other things. I teach, I do social work, I do my priestly duties, everything. But what sustains me is dance. I could say, every drop, every fiber, if I am not dancing on stage or not, it dances. I can feel it. That's mine. And it's a journey, as you know, it's a journey. Because of dance, I'm also blessed. I have now traveled across the world to 32 countries. I have danced more than 1,500 stages, solo and then group. And not for a kind of celebrity. I'm not a celebrity at all. I dance in villages where there is no stage. I dance in Germany not less than 500 to 600 times in stages. In many cities and villages where you may not have gone. And other parts. So that is what's the joy, the happiness, the contentment, what I have, I just want to share. That's all. And the basis is yoga, dance and spirituality.
Just reminded me when you were explaining on the essay of Ananda Kumaraswamy, this very famous essay, The Dance of Shiva, where he concludes in the last line, the place where the dance is happening is the center of the universe. And the center of the universe is Chidamparam. And Chidamparam is in your heart. So I think we have there as well a bridge, that the divine in the Indian tradition, Chidamparam, and as well in the mystic tradition, that God is dwelling within you, is again the understanding that we are both. We are Prakriti, of course, everybody is here incorporated and has this space suit. But as well, there is Purusha, there is this divine, the soul. And I think this is the big challenge, to get in the great dance these two aspects of being a noetic being and being a natural being together, and coming, and this togetherness of Purusha and Prakriti understand as a dance in itself. So dance can be understood on various levels, on abstract of the stars, but then as well very concrete in the moving body. And maybe we can have a focus also on the aspect of the play, the lila, or as Hugo Rana put it in the heavenly dance play, das himmlische Tanzspiel. So what would you say is, from your point of view, lila, and how does it come together with your dance practice? Because Bharatanatyam is already very codified, so you have to learn the exact syllabus, the words, the language to express yourself. And what would you say is the connection between this high order and choreography and the freedom of the play, of the lila?
Yeah. See, as you know, Indian classical arts, even folk and other arts too, we cannot separate as an art from God. Because everything, please come inside here. You can sit inside a little more, otherwise you will be, yeah. So therefore, when we talk about Indian classical dance, we cannot divide it from God and the philosophy, the word, the absolute, the Paramatman, the universal self, and many terms that meaning basically the same.
In Indian philosophy, yes, but in the Western understanding of art, there is definitely a differentiation and no fundamental rootedness in the divine. So this is also a background of my question. So it's not just only Indian, but also since in the West we have quite a differentiation between artistic expression and theological foundation.
Yeah, that's what exactly. So Indian, we cannot divide that way. It is all in a composite whole. Holistically, you have to look at. You cannot say, I learn only Bharatanatyam and I don't learn anything about Indian culture or Indian religion. No. You cannot divide just like that. So therefore, here, every time when I used to have questions as I was growing up in the theology, in the philosophy, and in the Jesuit order, everything, my question was, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Because I am dancing several times all the gods and goddesses and everything. And an inner being, in my own personal life, I am a very ardent believer in Jesus. How does it fit in? I come to this play, this Leela, this Kela. We call it Kela, spot, the divine spot. For me, spiritually, I am playing the divine spot with the risen Christ. Christ is there for me, dancing in every soul, in every Atman, in everything. And it is a mystical. It is a mystical dance, and it's a mystical experience. It's very difficult to write down and pinpoint and tell you how it is. Now, it is very difficult to imageries to build up and say, and we have pictures and all that. But then, when I could connect it to the cosmic dance of Shiva, that is the Ananda Tandava, and the cosmic dance of Krishna, which is the Sukumara Tandava, that is a softer Tandava, then I compared and see where are these elements. They're talking about the 5 elements. They're talking about the 5 senses. They're talking about the 5 activities. Where is that? Then I compare with the Bible when Gita, and Gita talks about these 3 levels of in yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. What am I doing? I'm doing exactly the same in a different way. In Karma Yoga, daily I am practicing, I am doing all my work, whether it is social work or teaching or preaching or whatever, it is my Karma Yoga. And for that, I need Jnana Yoga.
Okay.
And Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are not enough. Then what I mean, I am only purely an academician. I need Bhakti Yoga. That is devotion. What is devotion for me? Devotion is that personal trust, that personal belief, that personal love for my Ishtadeva, my personal choice of my personal God. There I get space here. A wider space is opened with the Indian classical dance. There is space for you to take this and dance and express. So there, then, and the yoga, the elements of yoga is there in classical dance. You see, as I said, the stand itself is a yoga posture. And every hand, every limb, when you start moving, and the third eye, the jnana, and it opens and fire comes out, or movement, it is mystical. This is the most mystical idol or a mystical icon that we have in India. When I started wondering at this. And then I came to what am I doing? Add my own daily glory. For the greater glory of God, finding God in everything. So culture, multicultural or multilingual or multi-religious, it doesn't divide me. It only unites me. So therefore I try to bring in this, all the divisions, and like the scissors, and you bring it and you trying to put that omega point.
Yes.
So for that, what you need, as I said, yoga gives you the inner silence, inner discipline, inner control, and all muscular, physical strength. Because dance is the opposite of exuberance. Your muscles are not at rest. Your mind is rest, but then your activities are always movement. In that movement, how do you get stillness? That yoga helps. And what are you expressing? You are expressing ultimately is the joy, the happiness, Ananda. Therefore, he is the embodiment, Ananda embodiment. That's why he is called Ananda Tandava Sada Nritta Murti, means he is the joyful dancer, joyful icon. He keep dancing ever, never stopping. If he stops, everything collapses. So therefore, the wish of every dancer is that, please, God, you never stop dancing. In the macrocosm, in the universe. And as you said, in my heart. Chidambaram, Chit Ambaram. My Chit means heart. My heart, or every human being's heart, is that Ambaram. Ambaram means the sky, unlimited sky, where you can see everything in you. This is the philosophical, religious, background, or the pointer where one needs to immerse. That's what I'm trying with my, my experiences, and what gives me the most freedom and the space is dance. That's why I love dance, because I am allowed to express myself on stage, whether it is in the liturgy or in the proscenium stage or anywhere. I have the space, theatrical space to express.
And at the same time, a prayer.
It's a prayer.
It's
and
I think even probably at the first sight, So the performative side, the expression, is the secondary. First of all would be, I mean, this is, I guess, also your motivation when I saw you yesterday in the church. I mean, the question is, what is your inner motivation? And is it a prayer, or is it, for example, just a show or performance? And I think this distinguishes, for example, yoga practice from a pure ballet, dance or whatever. So I was just thinking, when this omega point is conceived as a heavenly dance play, then it would be the challenge for the soul to tune in there, not to dance its own dance, but rather to tune in, to unite with this dance and being dance. So another question would be, what would be, from your point, the combination of Bharatanatyam as a language and Natya Lila? So to say, a no form, or just only as a spiritual practice. How do you bring it together for you? Because on the one hand side, it's the focus on the moment, maybe, and the freedom of expression in the very moment. And on the other hand, it is the challenge to speak this sign language and to tell the story. So what would you say is the connection, or maybe even also the contradiction between these two approaches?
Yeah, for me, it's not much any contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
It is always, something that is contributing.
Mm-hmm.
It is supportive and contributing
mm-hmm.
to that lila. What is that ultimate lila? That is, lila means, play. Ultimate play of anybody, whether a believer or non-believer, anybody, whoever, according to my experience, is that finally I need to be liberated in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Or in yoga it's like samadhi,
mm-hmm.
or sthita prajna, big words to use it, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So from there to reach that, I need that path, I need that way.
Yeah.
So dance, Bharatanatyam, is that way, the marga, the way which has got, different lanes. For example, when we go Autobahn has got actually 3 lanes. Where you want to go fast, where you want to medium, you want to slow, then is a cycle path, there is a walking path. Bharatanatyam also is like that. There are different ways, different elements that you need to master every element. You need to learn to walk slow, you need to cycle, you need to go also in 280 speed, whatever. So that space is there. That is the space the art gives. So when you are doing that, always the question is, who is the propeller? Who is the mover? The prime mover in you, we call it the prime mover, is moving in every soul. Who is the prime mover? That's the prime mover, is that player.
Aristoteles, the first mover.
So that is where Bharatanatyam gives with its abhinaya. For example, we have the angika abhinaya. It means all then the minuteness comes. The little when we are a student, when you are learning and to practice your little things, every gesture, every hand, every movement, every look, everything is geared towards bringing you to have that divine play, that divine lila with that Paramatma. There when you lose the barriers or then your heart gets open, mind gets open. Then if you believe that, the soul starts dancing and moving and dancing and moving, hours to hour. And then you get in between you get like fleeting moments, we so call it, something. That is the ananda, that's the bliss. That is the aesthetic pleasure, which is not simply artistic pleasure in Indian classical terms, it is next to the experience of God. Like a twin sister or twin brother. So, aesthetic pleasure, aesthetic bliss, ananda that we get is like a twin brother when somebody goes to a temple, or somebody does a rosary, or somebody do another dhyana or meditation or anything. That spiritual awakening, that freedom or experience, one experiences the same. That's called twin brother. That's called Brahma Ananda Sahodara. Of the same. Sahodara means of the same womb.
This brings again then the concept of lila and rasa also in, that once the performer is actually experiencing it during the performance, as we said before, it will spread. This is a field that is actually created when it's authentic, and will jump in some way from the performer to the audience.
See, in Indian terms, especially Hinduistic terms, that so-called, but that plays with God, whoever be, he or she is a human being, a total human being, with total human emotions and feelings and everything. Therefore, we are joining what? We are playing with his play, his leela, his khela with us. He will sometimes play very trick with us. That's it. Please, you tell God, so these are the inner emotions, the inner feelings, the inner things that we keep doing. Sometimes one dance, we dance 100, 200, 300 times. Never get tired of it. Every time we get a new energy, a new feeling, a new thing. That is the Kira. That's the Leela. He wants that. He is waiting for that, or she is waiting for that. Come on, I play with you. You come on to my tune. So in tune to tune, in steps to step, in the bliss that we have to step. The rhythms, the 5 rhythms or 10 rhythms are his rhythms. Into that rhythm we make movements. Then we become, that Kela becomes the differences or divisions become closer, become union. That's called yoga. So dance becomes there, dance becomes as yoga. Because yoga, as you know, yoga also had several limbs. There are 8 limbs that we are not doing everything. So depending on whether you are totally a yogi following from every. Here dance also, we have many other limbs. Always we are not doing the same. But what is that? Here it is most important is that how you can feel and you can express, you can reach out your heart into the heart of the other person, who is the spectator. Then bring that, of the same plane, same level. That is the rasa nishpatti. There is a rasa is originating, rasa sprouting, the rapture of rasa.
And for this you have to be in tune with the center, with Chidambaram.
Yes. Yeah. Because from Chidambaram is where the vibration point, that is the center. In Chidambaram, this God is there according to it. This God, Nataraja, dances there. And that is the only temple dedicated to this God. No other temple. So he is there is the center. And from there, and this is his icon there. All the other Shiva temples, you have the Shiva Linga, the Linga and the Yoni. Or the other temples. Only this temple has got. So that means the most important temple for the Shaivite philosophy is Chidambaram.
Have you ever been to Chidambaram?
Me? Several times. Several times. For my PhD studies, my teaching, I take my students sometimes to show all this, and there everybody can go. Some temples you cannot enter, I cannot enter. Some temples. But this temple, everybody can enter.
Did you once do a performance in Chidambaram?
Not in the Holy of Holies. Not in the temple. The temple theatre complex.
Okay.
Yeah. But only very few people have done in the Holy of Holies.
Yeah.
That's there.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Thank you, Saju.
Most welcome.
Exactly. That was what I wanted to ask. We now come closer to the actual dance part, and but still, does anybody have questions to Pater Saju on the topics or something which interests you? Ich übersetze auch für den Fall, dass es in der Sprache liegen sollte.
Beschäftigt er sich mit Spiritualität, ist klar, aber mit mehreren Dimensionen oder was macht er so privat in seiner Meditation?
He's asking what you're doing privately in your meditations. Do you have special meditations that you are practicing for yourself on top maybe of dancing?
Yeah. Yes, I spend a lot of time in dancing, in yoga, and teaching, and practicing. At the same time, sometimes, and practically every day we have courtesans. I do my courtesans. Some people come and go to church. That's the other part of my, Then when I'm sometimes I am down with mentally or emotionally down. Sometimes we are human beings, with whether some problems of this thing, and what gives me another release, or I spend time like to focus myself, to concentrate, and to get a kind of a spiritual feeling, because spirituality is also a feeling, an emotional feeling. I take, though nowadays people don't know or don't do, I take the rosary. I take the rosary and I just go on repeating like mantra, like Om Namah Shiva, Shivaya Namah, that's a mantra, and that rosary mantra I go on repeating, which gives me a kind of, again, a kind of quietness. So what it means that we need some personal space, which is not dance, which is not action, which is not that you're hectic, hurry and worry everywhere, hustle and bustle, and but sometimes that space, that time, I use for my own, quietness.
Do you also recite some mantras, the classical Indian mantras, or is it?
I recite, apart from this rosary, I recite the Christian mantra of the 5 syllables. Om is, we believe, in Christian, Indianized, interreligious, intercultural. Om is also the eternal word, where in the John's Gospel said the word was there, word was with God, the word became a flesh in Jesus Christus. So therefore I have, and it's a freedom for us, they're the same syllables. Om, I told you, Om, there are two main mantras. Like if you are if your god Ishtadevata is Shiva, then Om Shivaya Nama. That is one. I told you. If it is the other god Narayana, Om Narayanaya. For me, Om Kristaya Nama. Om Kristaya Nama. Om Kristaya Nama. Om Kristaya Nama. 5 syllables. I repeat this. When I travel, when I have little, feel like repeating that mantra, that is. Or Savitri mantra. Sometimes I get it.
Gayatri mantra.
Yeah, Gayatri mantra. It's mantra of universe. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tat Savito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That's the Shanti we are looking for. And then after next moment you are maybe in action. But that Shanti has to reside like the inner current.
The stillness, die Stille, where Meister Eckhart talked about, this is the meeting point with the divine. Yeah. One thing I want still to ask before I again is, how do you see the perspectives in between the Christian church, especially, not only theology, to incorporate the wisdom of the heavenly dance play as explained by Guru Rana? I mean, this is, I think, such a strong vision, but Karl Rahner is quite famous, but who knows Guru Rana? And who took up this eschatological vision in the church?
Yes, see, I think like Guru Rana, even Augustine, St. Augustine ultimately said, if the angels don't dance in heaven, what do? They have nothing else. That means that the element of dance was already. But then they shunned body because body was. That is a dichotomy between body and soul. And now I think that age is quite over.
Yes, I agree.
Now it is Pope Francis has got the theology of the body, embodiment, and the use of the body, the beauty of the body, and what wonders we can do with our own body, the embodied, self, Christ.
Do you see movements in between the church who take up this to see it as a challenge? Because of course they would have to work against a huge barrier of hundreds of years of negation of the body. Do you see a glimpse, at least, in Christianity that takes up this challenge and says, yes, this should be the theology of the future, we should make something out of it?
Yes, there is revival. There are more and more people now opening up to allow the dance, the element, the movement element, as in the praise, in the worship area. Because this month, for example, is in 37 days, we have danced in at least 20 churches, in at least 20 or 15 gottesdiensts, with bishops, with priests, with people. And so far in this way, nobody objected, nobody said a negative word. Everybody said it was good, we need more of such. But there are also priests and bishops here and told me, no, I will not allow you to dance in my church.
Yeah.
Also there.
I can imagine.
You need to.
And it's easier, since you are an Indian dance ensemble, to see it as something intercultural and so on. So this is also then easier maybe to bridge, because this is exotic in some way. The question would be whether in the church itself, so without this exotism behind, whether you see there sparks that it's happening in the Europe, in Germany, for example, movements that are taking place. Because I think it's easier now. You can be invited in the church and people are coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what is an European spiritual theology group?
Yeah, I have seen there are a number of groups, liturgical dance groups, church dance groups in all over Europe I have met, I have seen.
Tatiana is doing
Yes,
this
Tatiana
work.
is doing
Tatiana
that, yes.
for example.
This Melanie is doing
Yeah.
that. She is doing in the churches
Yeah.
and prayers and worship and dance.
You feel that there is...
There is, of course there is. Of course, not that much that we would wish we would.
Yeah.
Slowly, little
Slowly.
bit, opening and appreciation is, because last 20-25 years I'm doing, and in India we have institutions, we have universities run by churches. And more our own, more and more Christians are becoming scholars in it. Doing under me, there is a priest who completed PhD, there are 3 other Christians completed PhD, of course Hindus also complete PhD, so there are not only dances, but also people who are scholars, scholarly searching from the biblical tradition, from the spiritual tradition, from mystical tradition, from the therapeutic way. So many things are being happening now, even from the Christian point of view. Here also, I see more and more people interested. Yes, and try. But the plus point of the Indian dance, classical dance, is that this has got a much more of, drama in it. The miming, the gestures, a little bit with the explanation. It is much more. The story can be, can be explained or narrated with all the human elements more vividly. With the song and with movement and everything that is. So that is because it has taken more than 2,000 years tradition.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So a language has been built up, and we are now now enriching that Hindu language with other languages, with Christian, Buddhist, or the other. So the art is developing. The space is becoming wider.
Yes, and especially I think when you get it on the apex, on the theological aspect clear in yourself, then the interculturality is easier, because then there is less misunderstandings, less danger of being enculturated and so on. This is another discourse.
This is it. Why? Because what I have experienced, if people say, no, it is not good, or it is devilish, or simply because ignorance. Because they have not allowed themselves to see what it is. I must see. I must talk to you, what you are. Then what happened?
Ignorance, and Shiva is dancing on ignorance.
That is our mission, is that. Our way is that we want to learn and try to make people open, little more open.
Yes.
And then we travel around, we see different multicultural experiences. People I have experienced people, those who have traveled to India, people who have seen Indian culture, they always come again to see. They always come again to see because they have seen it. That is so. Therefore, if we are close to know, it's not good, but it's not for me. So we tend to keep things away, and it really makes it difficult for us. It also religiously, politically, so things are like that.
Yes.
So.
Umso schöner, dass du hier bist und wir jetzt gleich auch noch eine Performance sehen werden. Is there still a question from your side before we go in the next part?
Please, the last question.
Yes.
What was your personal, extraordinary spiritual experience?
Yeah. What was my so-called a height of spiritual experience through dance. We are talking about through dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. After our there is something called a graduation. Okay, a debut. I had to do it. Whatever I learned, whatever, and my own little choreographies and everything, say about 2.5 hours, I had to dance and dance with the live musicians and coordinating. Say 5 musicians are sitting with you, and there are a minimum 500 people sitting in front of you, like you know, you are doing such a program first in your life. You will dance half an hour, 1 hour, or as a group or solo. 2.5 years alone dancing and everything Hindu pieces. Based on Hindu philosophy, Hindu everything, that is. And they all know that I'm a Christian and I'm a practicing Christian and everything, and many are Hindus and Christians, Muslims, everything. That was when I finished my last performance. I don't know, it's like a little bit of like an electrical shock. Like, God, I could finish it. And there I thought, it is not a human ability that helped me. It is some divine, spiritual, power, ability that gave me that power. That power, that spiritual ability is that I am cherishing. I am again and again like you need to brush up to make it shine, make it shine. That is my, in the dance world, even the spiritual world, that is a very, very special for me, which I can, we call it chew again, cuddly, like rasa experience. It's like we call always an example given for the rasa experience is that, aesthetic, blissful experience, that you take a piece of honeycomb, full of honey, you put it in your mouth, you keep chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and you don't feel like throwing it because you think still there is sweetness. I want to derive that sweetness. That's my very personal. You're most welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Vielen Dank to everyone. I'm still learning little Deutsch.
Yeah. Besser.
Like the salt and pepper.
Hier gibt es noch eine Frage.
Bitte? Bitte.
I was wondering, or I was getting curious about, do you journey sometimes into different musical worlds? Like, do you try African drums or gospel, or do you always choose the path of Indian music to get in the states you were describing?
We dance to creative music, and I dance to organ music, Western music. Yes. Yes, I have danced to heavy organ, church organ music also several times, and I love it. I like it because once you are into music, it is the rhythm and music and the emotion and the flow. And this time we danced for a Pentecost Sunday in Switzerland in a church, and the organ musician was so much touched, and she said, please ask them to come next year. So we are thinking to come next year, but then one invitation is not enough to come for 7 people. So hopefully, more openings are coming. So, yeah, and I try to give opportunities for different groups, so that their mind to different culture, different experiences. It is also an intercultural, interreligious world that they are experiencing. Yes, thank you. Yes.
I guess you will give the introduction of your group then afterwards or now? Or then afterwards before your performance? Or do you want
we
to
can, as they come with performances, we can.
Okay, yeah, you combine it anyway.
Yeah.
So we have now a break maybe of 10 minutes? Yes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like this. 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And then we come to the performance part.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.